Mac Jones and the San Francisco 49ers. We have heard so much talk about, at first, the 49ers were locked and sold on getting Mac Jones with the number 3 overall pick. John Lynch, as the general manager, he was all in on it. Kyle Shanahan, as the head coach, he was all in on it. The team felt like, weeks back, they were all in on Mac Jones being the guy at the number 3 overall pick. But since then, there has been so much going on where the front office of the 49ers are concerned. And according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, he reports that at this point, San Francisco has 5 guys that they're looking at. And one in particular just so happens to be Trey Lance, the young man from North Dakota State, of whom did not have a season, did not play in the 2020 campaign. But according to Schefter, citing sources from the 49ers camp, what's being told is Trey Lance has closed the gap. They really like Trey Lance in San Fran. They feel like he's the smartest guy in the room, the smartest guy on the board, high ceiling, big athleticism, big potential, big ability. You got to take Trey Lance. You got to take Trey Lance. You got to take Trey Lance. So this is what is going on here in the room where the 49ers are concerned. Now, for me, I would say dance with the name that got you to this point, and that name is being Mac Jones. This was the guy that you wanted from the jump, from the start. And to me, when I look at Kyle Shanahan, I see someone that understands, look, I'm in a tough division. The NFC West is no cupcake. This is no laughing matter. I have to deal with Sean McVay of the LA Rams, who people are saying he's a young Bill Belichick, and Sean McVay is about winning right now. Heck, he swapped a first-round pick quarterback for another first-round pick quarterback, giving up Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford, and he feels like he can win a Super Bowl with one Matthew Stafford. And then Kyle Shanahan has to deal with an aggressive Pete Carroll in his own division. Now, of course, I want the Seahawks to do right by Russell Wilson. He's 32 years of age. He's a Super Bowl champion. Should be a 2-time Super Bowl champion, but that's neither here nor there. He's an 8-time NFL Pro Bowl selection. But you look at, you got Pete Carroll to deal with. And then you've gotten Cliff Kingsbury to deal with, and a young coach of whom he's got Kyler Murray at quarterback, who's young, who's skilled, who's athletic, and you got weapons around him. So Kyle Shanahan's like, I got to win now. I got to get a guy that can help me win now because I'm in a tough division. And what's equivalent to the NFL? How about the SEC in college football? Mac Jones has played in a conference that resembles the NFC West. Playing in the SEC, Mac had to deal with the toughest competition, the toughest defensive players, the toughest defensive coordinators, the toughest defensive-minded head coaches. He had to deal with the physicality that is the SEC. And throughout his long season as a starter for the Crimson Tide, he was met with games that the national media kept saying, against Georgia, this is the best defense Kirby Smart has ever had on paper. I don't know if Mac Jones can handle this. Going down to LSU, you're going down to the Bayou where Mike the Tiger, and they get drunk and they go crazy on Bourbon Street where New Orleans is concerned. But Baton Rouge, they're about that life right there. I don't know if Mac Jones can take that defense just down there at LSU. Oh, but look at Auburn. Kevin Steele, he keep him a great defense. I don't know if Mac Jones can penetrate that Auburn force field right there. Oh, but look at Florida. Florida got that defense. Mac Jones, every time it was brought up of how much the defense that the opposing team had would be better than him, Mac Jones put out his best brand of football there on the field. And even when it came down to the college football playoff against Notre Dame and Ohio State, Mac did something that not many quarterbacks do. He completed 80% of his passes in the CFP. So he knows what it's like to play physical football in a tough conference and in a tough division. So he knows what Kyle Shanahan is going through, and he's a guy that can win right now with Coach Shanahan. But Here's where the personnel group comes in, where they're saying, well, Coach Shanahan, we know you like Mac Jones, but Trey Lance, you can't give up Trey Lance, baby. You know, Trey Lance is sex appeal, baby. Trey Lance is right now NFL. Trey Lance is, you got to be able to move and be athletic and wow and sell seats and sell jerseys and sell popcorn and sell bobbleheads and sell hot dogs and beer. You can't do that with Mac Jones. You can't sell with Mac Jones. You can only sell with Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to sell because he represents the modern day quarterback. You got to move, you got to move, you got to run. You got to be athletic. I've said this before. Quarterbacks in football are like point guards in basketball. Athleticism's fun. Athleticism is great, but once that body breaks down, you got to be able to have that mid-range game. You got to be able to have that three-point shot. Same thing in football, being able to run around, hats all fine and dandy, but when your body's taking them hits, can you be able to distribute the ball and be a pinpoint passer with accuracy down the field? That's the big thing here. But in the event that Kyle Shanahan listens to everybody else and not his gut and not his mindset and not his research that he's done on Mac Jones, if Kyle Shanahan takes Trey Lance, here are two teams that I feel like will get Mac Jones with the quickness. Number one, the New England Patriots at the number 15th overall pick. There is a sense of urgency going on in New England. Bill Belichick knows that the vice grip he has had on the AFC East for the last 20 years, he no longer has it anymore. The Buffalo Bills are really, really good. The Miami Dolphins feel like in year two of Tua Tagovailoa, they're going to take that jump. And the New York Jets have hitched everything but the kitchen sink to one Zach Wilson out of BYU. That's going to be their projected draft pick right there. So when you look at Bill O'Brien, prior to Bill Belichick, prior to he and Tom Brady parting ways there, people always want to know, who really gets that Patriot way emotion? Is it Bill Belichick or is it Tom Brady? Is it Belichick or is it Brady? Is it Brady or is it Belichick? At some point, one of these two is going to leave, and then we're going to see who really runs that program. Well, Brady left Belichick prior to the 2020 campaign. He goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He wins a Super Bowl, and everybody's like, whoa, well, it's Brady. Maybe it's not Belichick. Maybe Belichick is not what we thought he was. Maybe Brady really does a thing. Maybe Brady puts that cream in that coffee. Maybe Brady is the real deal. Maybe Brady is what causes New England to thrive and not Belichick. We all know Bill Belichick is not a gracious loser. It doesn't matter if he's playing Chinese checkers or what he's playing. He doesn't like to lose, and he's not going to be the butt of the joke in this divorce here from Brady. And you got Tom Brady 2.0 in this draft when you talk Mac Jones. If you discuss the stories of Jones and Brady, they line up. They're very similar. Both guys were not highly recruited coming out of high school. Both guys had to battle other quarterbacks in college to get the starting job. Mac at Alabama, of course, Brady at Michigan. Once they got the starting job, both guys had to fend off talented guys to keep the starting job. Mac Jones had to fend off, of course, Bryce Young. Tom Brady had to fend off Drew Henson. We all know the story there. They were both doubted in the NFL draft process. Tom Brady, a 7-time Super Bowl champion. Mac Jones looking to do or have that type of success. If not New England, then keep your eyes on the Washington football team at the 19th overall pick. They've got some things that are very similar to what Mac had at Alabama. You got the tough defensive head coach and Ron Rivera. You've already got the Alabama defense already over there in Washington with the likes of Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and those guys. They've got some good young receivers. So if the Patriots don't make the move, look for the Washington football team at the 19th overall pick to potentially make that move.